Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sippin' on Stories podcast. I am Andy. I am your host, and I am so delighted that you're here. I'm especially delighted because that means that you have probably already listened to episode number 1 and thought that that was okay enough that you decided to go ahead and listen to number 2. So I'm very grateful for that. And if you found yourself listening to episode number 1 and thinking, you know what, I actually have a story myself that I would love to share with Mandy on this podcast, then please reach out to me. Go to my Instagram, Sippin' on Stories Podcast, send me a DM, or you can also email me at sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. But keep thinking, because that's the thing, is I know that every single person has a story that they can share. Okay, so for today's episode, I had one of my friends, Kailey, be willing to come on and share her story with us. So here she is. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell us your name and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Kailey Christensen. I'm 31 years old, and I'm married and have 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and yeah, I don't know what else.
That's pretty much, if anyone asks me questions about myself, I'm like, I'm a mom.
Yeah, mom.
That's about where it stops.
Yep.
Like, I have no hobbies right now, no interests, so that's me.
That's what I do.
Okay, so the name of this podcast is Sippin' on Stories, and I call it that because I have an addiction to sodas and flavored drinks, and so I was just kind of doing a play on that. Also, just, I like to hear stories. So, taking in all the things that I love. So a question that I'm going to ask all of my guests is, what is your drink of choice? If you're at home or at a restaurant, and it could be water, it doesn't matter, but what is your favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Well, I will admit that I also have a weak spot for like sodas. So we've gone to, I think the Drink Factory has, I can't even remember the name of it, but it's like a root beer base with like cream and vanilla in it. It tastes like a butterbeer type of drink.
I got one for my son, and it was so good that it like had butterscotch in it.
Yeah. Yes.
And I like root beer, but it's not my favorite. When I drank that, I'm like, I want this whole thing.
Yeah. So I have to limit myself how often I go there. But yeah, that's probably my favorite drink.
I've never had a butterbeer, but I assume that's probably what it tastes like.
Yep.
Here in Idaho, I feel like everyone's probably got some sort of mixture of soda that they like.
Yep.
So, okay. So I'm just going to let you get right into your story. Thank you for coming on and sharing this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let you go for it.
Okay. Let's see. It was October 7th. Of 2023, so a little bit over a year ago. It was just kind of a family get-together weekend. So my husband's family all kind of came together because his sister was having a baby blessing on Sunday. And so with the whole family being together, it was just kind of let's think of some fun activities to do as a family. And the idea came up of trying horseback riding. So my mother-in-law's brother, so like my uncle-in-law, I guess.
Yeah.
He has like a farm and a bunch of horses that he tends to and cares for. So we kind of planned out the day that we were going to start Saturday morning with trying to ride horses. Anybody who wanted to be involved could be involved.
Have you ridden a horse before at this point?
Yeah, so
okay.
I've done a couple of just like trails where you have a guide at the front and the horses just kind of follow each other. So not a lot of, a little bit of, you kind of steer them to get them on course, but for the most part, the horses just follow each other. We did one of those on our honeymoon, and I'm pretty sure we've done one other before as a couple. But again, it wasn't a lot of they gave us a little bit of instruction of what to do or what to do if something happens. But they were there. And the point of them there was they were kind of telling us, okay, the horses will just follow. So you guys don't pull them, just kind of let them. You don't have to do anything. You just let them walk. So we we kind of had planned out the day, and that was going to be the start of the day. And then afterwards, we're going to do a bunch of other activities. And anyways, that's where it started. And I've always kind of been one who feels the need to be involved in activities. And sometimes it's not always what I love to do, but it's more of I want to do it because I want to feel involved,
of course,
with everybody.
The FOMO.
Yeah.
Like, why sit back if I can do it?
Yeah. And especially with like the in-laws, family, and you just want to. You want to be like included and doing what everybody else. I've just always kind of been that way. So Cameron's been my husband has been riding horses ever since he was, I'm not sure when he started, but I mean, he's trained one before. So he's had a lot of experience with riding horses. And so he got on and it was kind of like, okay, who's up next? And I was like, sure, I'll try it. And so anyways, I got on this horse and I remember the first thing that I thought of was, holy cow, this thing's massive. And I don't know if it was much bigger than the other horses I've been on, but for whatever reason, it felt like a huge horse. It was super tall. It felt super big. And so once I got
you're
on,
a tall person,
and I'm
so,
yeah, and it just was and so I was a little bit intimidated and nervous getting on, and so I kind of asked like, okay, what do I do here? And it was just kind of this fenced off area that he had actually tilled the dirt that morning, so the dirt was super soft, and it was ready for riding and everything, and so I was kind of like, okay, what do I do? And the only direction I really got was, just pull the reins. You pull the reins this way and that makes him move, pull it that way and that makes him move. And so anyways, we kind of got going and we were okay for a while. I had taken a couple videos even on my phone, like of Cameron doing it, and we were taking pictures. And anyways, Cameron kind of got into a run with his horse because he's natural and knows how to do that. Yeah. For whatever, my horse was kind of anxious in the beginning, it felt like to me. He was flicking his head and I was like, am I bugging him? What am I doing wrong? And they kind of were just like, he's fine. It's just the flies in his eyes bugging him.
Is this horse like used to having people ride?
Yeah, it's a trained horse and it's been ridden lots of times. And so anyways, I felt like the horse was really anxious. And as soon as my husband's horse got into a run, mine just decided it wanted to start running without any prompting at all.
You said it was in like a fenced area? Was it like a fenced field or like a circle?
It was like like an oval, like a big oval.
I'm trying to think of like what I've seen on like Western movies.
Yeah.
I've never ridden a horse, but I like the show. Have you seen the show Heartland? Oh, it's a really cute show. But anyway, it's where they train their horses, and it's just a little circle. So that's what I was envisioning.
Yeah. Yep, that's what it is. So he kind of just started running, and I don't even know how to describe. I basically just froze up. I don't know if I've ever in my life felt like that, where I kind of had dropped the reins and held on to the saddle, and my mind kept telling me, like, grab the reins. Like, that's how you stop the horse.
Yeah.
So you grab the reins. And for I just felt like I was going to fall off.
Yeah.
So I was holding on for dear life.
Of course.
And I could not, for the life of me, get my hands to move and grab the reins. So what happened was he was kind of going at a diagonal, and then he turned, headed straight onto the other side of the fence where I could see everybody standing there. And again, my panicked brain kept telling me, grab the reins, grab the reins, grab the reins. And he took a sharp 90 degrees. And when he did that sharp turn, it flung me off the horse back into the fence. And so when I hit the fence, it burst my spine. So I had a burst spinal fracture. I had a total of 7 fractures from my head to my toes. Let's see, I had a brain bleed. I had a concussion because the back of my head hit the fence.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even realize it until we got to the hospital because my back was in so much pain. But I had broken my ankle because it was stuck in the it had gotten stuck in the little foot.
Like the harness break.
Yeah, whatever that's called.
I clearly don't know anything.
Me neither. It got stuck in that foothold while I was flipped out. So it must have done something to break it, or not break it, but fracture it. So anyways.
When the horse was running, was it like a jog or was it like faster?
It wasn't super fast. It was kind of more of like a gallop.
But still at a 90-degree angle, that's going to be fast.
Yeah. And to be honest, and this is probably a tender mercy, I don't remember hitting the fence.
Yeah.
I remember coming up to the fence and trying to convince my hands to grab the reins. I mean, I could see them. They were just sitting there down on the horse's neck. And all I had to do was grab the dang reins and stop the horse.
I could see myself not grabbing the reins, like just freezing.
So I don't remember. I remember that moment. And then the next moment I remember was lying on the ground.
And was the pain like instant, or were you like in shock? Or
it was instant. So as soon as I had blacked out for a little bit. So by the time people came to me, I think it had been like 5 or 10 seconds that I had blacked out.
Yeah.
That when I came to, there was my in-laws and Cameron that I could see. One of them is a PA, the other was a doctor, and then there was Cameron.
Oh, wow.
They were trying to like analyze, okay, where do we start? What do we do? What's wrong with you? What's hurting? And all I could feel was my back hurt so bad I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even take in like a full breath. And there was this panicked feeling of like I can't even breathe because my back hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying, my back hurts, my back hurts. And they said, is it your ribs? What else is hurting? And all I could say was my back hurts. And so they assumed that it was my ribs that were broken. And then I don't remember much until the ambulance came. The next thing I remember was being, I don't even remember the ambulance getting there.
I'm kind of surprised that you remember any of it.
Yeah. I remember being on a board and then they were lifting me up, getting into the ambulance. And I remember that moment because I grabbed Cameron and I said, where are the kids? Where's Caitlin? I just remember feeling this like panicked, like, where am I and where are the kids? And he just kind of looked at me and tried to look really calm and just kind of tell me they're inside. They're okay. People are watching them. Everything's fine.
I don't know, Cameron. I don't know if I've ever heard him like say a word. He seems like a calm person.
He is. And part of one of the things I remember the most on the ground was looking at him. And maybe my brain was, because he tells me that he wasn't crying.
Huh.
So it might have been my brain making things up, but I swear I saw him crying. And as soon as I saw that, the panic like shot up that much more.
Because you know that means something.
Because if he's upset, I mean, he's the one that calms me down.
Yeah.
And if he's upset, this might be the end of the world, is kind of what was going through my head. So anyways, then we were in the ambulance. I don't remember anything about the ambulance ride, but Cameron was telling me there were a few times I tried to fall asleep. And he was, Kailey, stay with me. Wake up. Be here. So then we got to the hospital, and the next thing I remember was they put me on that flat board to give me I think it's an MRI, the big dome one that goes around, and it's super loud. And I wanted to beg them to get me off that board.
That was so uncomfortable.
That was the hardest board I have ever laid on in my whole life. And so I had like this mental struggle of like, well, do I dare ask someone to take me off the board, or do I just grit my teeth and suffer through it? And so I did. I just kind of gritted my teeth, and then I remember getting into the machine and the sound started, and then I blacked out again. And then the next thing I remember them trying to get clothes off of me in order to do those images. And they kept trying to get my attention. And that's when I came to. That's when I remember. It's because they were asking me, do you want us to try to save your pants?
Oh, that's
and I was like, just cut them off.
Yeah, I don't care about these pants.
I'm in so much pain. Just do what you need to do to get them off. I can't move. So So they did. They cut my pants off. They had to cut. That's probably a little bit too much.
That's one of my things. I have already said this, is that nothing's TMI. Okay. So it's all, I'll take anything.
Anyway, so I remember that part, and then I remember the images part. And then, I don't know, it's so much of a blur from there. Basically, what they tried to do in the hospital was we had two options. Either they could go in and do surgery right away, or we could try to put a turtle shell on me and try to get it to have that support me and just do it that way. And for whatever reason, surgery scared the daylights out of me.
Well, it seems like a huge surgery. And at that point, you probably don't even know what the full extent of everything is, did you? So
no. I mean, they had showed us. I don't even know if I remember the x-rays from the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm sure Cameron remembers the x-rays from the hospital. But yes, by then we had our surgeon tell us what had happened, all the fractures that were everywhere. They had to put a boot on my ankle because that one was fractured.
Yeah.
The brain bleed kind of resolved itself. That was one that they were most concerned about.
Yeah.
And they just said, it's not big. We're just going to watch it. And so they did, and it kind of just went away. And so that one, again, tender mercy. Nothing huge happened there.
Were you worried about that, or was it hard to even focus on that because of pain?
So much pain. Anyways, we decided to go with the turtle shell because I was terrified of surgery, and Cameron was kind of like, sounds like there's some risks. Maybe we just go with no risks for now and try this. So we did. They had to make like a little shell to go around me, and then they got me out of bed to try to walk around and try to see how it was supporting me and how it was working. And I remember feeling, I don't know that I've ever felt gravity so much in my life. Just felt like it was pulling me down.
I didn't even think about what that would have felt like.
It just felt so much like this thing was trying to keep me up, but like everything in my body was trying to pull me down to the ground. And that's kind of literally what happened. Was my spine had started collapsing on itself. And so it was like 3 days with that turtle shell. And after 3 days, the doctor came back and said, we don't have any choices anymore. We have to go in and do surgery.
How many times did you try and walk with that on? Was it like every day you'd have to get up multiple times?
And in that time, I mean, maybe even before that, there was this battle of, I wanted to get pressure off my back. So there was this nurse that was really helpful, that was really caring, that saw how much pain I was in. So she kind of figured out, well, what if we do this? What if we pull the sheets from under you and stick pillows on your side to give you a little bit of relief from your back? And so they did. And the relief was like immediate, but it only lasted about a minute. And then it felt like, oh, I'm crushing myself to the side. Can we go to the other side?
And pain meds, they weren't helping at all.
I mean, part of it was I was throwing up my pain. I mean, I was in so much pain. I was throwing up my pain meds. And so then they'd have to give it to me again like half an hour later. And so the pain meds were hard on my stomach, and the pain was causing me to vomit and have stomach problems. And it was awful. Yeah. It was just awful. And there was just nothing that anybody could do about it. So they were trying to do the pillows thing back and forth. And then I had a new rotation of nurses, and those nurses were less tolerant to switch me back and forth every 5 minutes. And so they kind of confronted me about it. And it's not my proudest moment, but there was a moment that I was kind of like, what do you expect me to do here?
Yeah.
I mean, the doctor has told me I can't move. I can't move myself. So if I can't get any relief, what do I do?
Yeah, I'm surprised like it took you that long.
Anyways, at that point, when I had kind of communicated that from what I had heard at that point, I couldn't move, they sent a doctor in and said, these are the movements that you can do. So there might have been a little bit of communication blockage. But again, I was in and out of it so much. I was in so much pain. They probably told me before that and had to come in again and tell me. It just was a nightmare. So anyways, then the doctor kind of came in. The other thing that I remember before they put the turtle shell in was the doctor told me, okay, here are your restrictions for the next 6 months to a year. Actually, this might have been after surgery. See, it's weird what the brain does when you're in pain.
And it's trying to save yourself and figure out like what's important to remember. That is not like the order of events.
It's so anyways, they did the surgery first and they put me under. And that was the second time I was in the worst pain I've ever been in my life. Was waking up from surgery. I was on literal fire. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just the minute that I came to, my whole body was in agony. It was, it still gets me emotional because
of course.
It was awful. And so
And at that point, were you like hoping that you'd wake up? Like, were you desperate for the surgery at that point? Because maybe it would help a little bit more?
No, this was after the surgery.
Or so like before the surgery, were you like, yes, give me surgery. Maybe that would be more helpful.
No,
you were
I was still
like,
terrified.
Okay.
I was still like,
I wondered about that.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to go into surgery. I don't know what it's going to be like afterwards. But we had no options. There was, if you want to walk, we're doing surgery. So
you wake up.
So I wake up in agony, and they got me settled into my room. And I remember, I was breathing hard. And so I begged the nurse. I said, can you give me more? Can you give me something else? And she kind of shook her head and said, you're on the top dose. You're on the max. We can't give you anything else. And my dad was in the room. Cameron was in the room. Everybody was talking, trying to figure out, how do we get her calmed down? How do we get the pain down? And I just lost it. See, this is something I'm still recovering from.
Yeah.
I just closed my eyes and I just cried.
Had you allowed yourself to have that emotion up till that point? Like
Not really.
Okay.
I kind of was just, going through it, trying to just do what they told me to do. And I don't know. But I did. I had to physically close my eyes and shut out everybody in the room and just cry because there was nothing else that I could do. And if nobody else was going to do anything else, I just had to block everything out and just cry for a minute because it was so much pain. It was awful. So anyways, after the surgery, things started going up pretty fast. So it was pretty clear to everybody that the surgery was the right way to go. And it took about a week. And then after a week, they took me up to the recovery, the second floor. And the second floor is kind of like the rehab, physical therapy, getting you moving, that kind of floor. So once I had gotten the surgery done, everything. And two, I didn't go into the surgery very much. So when they did the surgery, they had to put rods and screws. So what they did was the bone above it and the bone below it, they fused together to stabilize that fractured spine bone. And then they had to put rods and screws and drill them into my back, which again is probably part of why it was
no
agonizing.
It was fire.
When I woke up. And basically they put an internal brace in my back, which I didn't find out till later, but I will have that in my back for the rest of my life.
I was going to ask that. It's not
it coming out because they were hoping as time grew on, the bone would piece itself back together and maybe there would be an option of taking it out. At the year mark from the surgery, when they looked at the scans, the bone's not growing back as fast as they'd hoped. So he said, we're leaving it in. The only time we would ever go in and replace things is if a screw got loose.
Okay.
Then we'd have to go in and replace your hardware, but you're probably going to have that for the rest of your life, which we were kind of fine with at the time because there were I had already had the surgery once, didn't want to go through that pain again. And also it would put me back at ground zero of you've got to do all your rehab again. You've got no strength. You can't pick up your son again. Yeah. It would just be back to zero.
And you already did that.
And I had already done that. And I wasn't going to do it again. Yeah. So anyways, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. But the surgery happened. And after the surgery was the moment that the surgeon told me, okay, here are your restrictions for the next 6 months to a year. You cannot lift more than, actually at the beginning it was you can't lift, period. You can't lift anything. And my brain kind of thought about it for a minute and I said, wait a second. So I can't pick up my son?
How old was he?
He was, a year and 4 months. Okay. So he was still little.
Yeah.
They
want their mommy a lot at that point. Yeah.
And when he told me that, again, it was one of those moments I just cried because the realization that my life had changed in such a way, it was awful.
A lot to take in.
It was. So anyways, he gave me the restrictions. I got up to the second floor. Things started to get better. We ordered a walker. It was a little bit crazy that they had to teach me how to take care of myself again.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to practice brushing your teeth today. It's something you've been doing for 20 plus years. Yeah. You don't think about it. And then you have this accident where you can't move for a week, 2 weeks. And it's you have to relearn how to do everything.
And did it feel hard? Relearning, even those simple things?
Painful. It was so awful. And whenever they opened the door, okay, we're here for therapy. It was always go away. Can I stay in the bed for another minute, not have to do it? But it was good. I needed that push to get it. Still just sucked. And then they had to teach me how to shower again. And that was agonizing. And they had to and we had to use a shower seat. And then they had to teach me how to walk down the hall. And okay, let's go a little bit further the next day. anyways, it was just slow process of trying to get back on my feet. And that was the time that I had time to kind of emotionally process, at least a little bit, what I had just experienced for the week. And there were a lot of emotions that came up.
Did they have anybody that was able to like come in and talk to you while you were there about it? I'm thinking again about my TV. I really like TV clearly because I keep talking about it. They have like the counselor person come in and like talk you through. I don't know if that's actually a thing.
I mean, I guess I could have asked for it,
but they didn't have
they didn't have one that came. Honestly, I had 3 different therapists. I had a physical therapist, I had an occupational therapist, and I had a speech therapist. And the speech therapist was more for the brain part to make sure that, okay, can you play a card game? Can you think? Can
like
you do
post concussion?
Yeah,
like everything.
And they found pretty early on that I didn't need that much therapy for that. We did a couple sessions, and then she kind of said, I don't think you need this anymore, but if you'd like to, we could continue. And I said, I actually enjoy playing games. Can we keep doing that? And it kind of evolved into, since we weren't focusing on the therapy, it allowed me a minute to kind of release some of the emotions. And so I did. I talked about how hard it was. One of the hardest parts being in the hospital and through the whole journey was my kids.
Of course. Yeah.
And hardest. I mean, I won't ever forget this. I'm sure he has, and he's moved on. He's only like 2, so he's not even going to remember most of this stuff.
But you do.
I do. Yeah. And the hardest thing was he would not even look at me.
Oh, really? Was he scared?
I don't know what was going on with him, but he would not sit with me in the bed. He wouldn't look at me. Anytime Cameron tried to put him on the bed to cuddle me, it was screaming, crying, get me off the bed right now. It was
that like makes me want to cry because
it was
like
awful.
You can't pick them up, but if they like don't even want to sit by you, like oh my gosh,
he didn't want anything to do with me, and that was so painful because all I wanted as his mom was to step into that role again.
Yeah.
Was to be that for him.
In any way that you could.
Anyway, even if it was just sitting on the hospital bed with me.
Yeah.
And it was awful that he wouldn't even do that. Until he learned that it was hard for me to eat food in the hospital. I tried to eat as much as I could, but there wasn't a lot. So after a while, Cameron started bringing the kids over after dinner. And so then they discovered, oh, Mom doesn't eat dinner. She has pudding and she has fruit. All of a sudden it was like, oh, yeah, let's sit with Mom and eat food. And that first moment of feeding Liam, like it was like a cup of like fruit. It was just a little cup of fruit. And being able to just spoon feed him while he sat on my lap was like the first moment that I was like, we're going to be okay. We're going to make it through this.
Yeah.
We're all going to be good and we can figure this out.
And how was Kate through it?
Kate, she was a trooper. She's going to remember a lot of this. She told me not too long ago, actually. So it's been like almost close to a year when she told me. She told me that she saw me. She looked out the window. All the kids were rushed into the house once I had hit the fence.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask like what they did.
Some of the other parents had grabbed the kids. Okay, let's go inside right now. They don't see this. And so all the kids were rushed inside, and Kate said that she had peeked through the window and saw me on the ground, not moving. I mean, she saw me with blood around my head and just not moving. And she just cried. And that was when my mother-in-law, her grandma, came over and, all right, we're shutting the blinds. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go play games. Let's go do something. But she might always remember that moment because she still remembers it. So there's some scary times for her, and she's been a trooper through all of it. She loved seeing me in the hospital. And that was such a tender mercy for me, and that was nice to be able to see her. But
did they come visit every day? Did you say?
Let's see. When we were on the second floor, I think they started to come and visit every day because I had the surgery. I was up and moving. Things were a little bit more stable. And so it was like, okay, we can go see Mom. She's doing better. So they did. They tried to come as much as they could. The hardest part with Kate was she cried when she left. She said, I want to stay with Mommy. I want to be with Mommy. For her, it was hard to leave and go live with someone else. And at the time, they moved in with Cameron's parents for a little bit.
Okay, that's what I I remember Cameron's parents, but I didn't know if they were staying with you or...
No, because they live here
They
too.
do? Okay. Yeah.
So they kind of just packed suitcases and lived there. Because Cameron he had to go back to work. And so that's kind of what they had done. And a lot of emotions there. I mean, again, super grateful that we had family close by. But it was hard. It was hard to watch other people fill that role for me.
Yeah. Are you a person... Is it easy for you to ask for help? Or
No.
Hard? Yeah. I'm like,
No.
That would be so hard to be like, oh, yeah, take my kids. And
No, that's one thing I learned even more about myself through this whole journey is I'm not good at asking for help.
I don't know a lot of people, honestly, that are.
Yeah.
Especially moms where we're like, will you do everything for everybody?
So that's been a humbling challenge for me that I've been working on through all of this. Kind of in the big picture of everything. There was another moment in the hospital that I remembered. It was on that second floor, on the rehab floor. And it was early in the morning. Cameron was on his way to work and had decided that he wanted to stop in and see me before going to work, just because he wanted to. And I was asleep when he came in, but I always wake up when the door opens because I know that people need stuff from me. So I wake up. Anyways, he came in and didn't even say anything. He just came into the hospital bed and just cuddled me. And that was the first time
so sweet
that he and I cuddled since I had broken my back. And that I won't ever forget that moment. That, again, for me was another moment of we're going to be okay.
Well, and especially
through this.
I can imagine that would be hard. Like, just in a marriage, like having something that big, like, so to be able to hold on to like a memory just like that is special.
It was hard. I was far from perfect in the whole process. And part of it was the pain. The pain made everything hard. And
it's just a constant reminder of what you're going through.
And there's no real good way of dealing with pain like that. It's just constant. And after a while, I just would get so mad. Like, even when we got home and things were okay. We were trying to settle into things. I had a walker. We were trying to figure out how do we work with Liam? How do we have people help us? And
at this point, are pain meds, like, are they helping at all when you get home? Or is it still like it was pretty 24/7, just a part of your life at this point?
It's just pain. And the pain meds took the edge off, but getting up and moving was just painful. I would try to get up and push myself to do things and take care of the kids and clean the kids, do something that resembled normal life. And when I was in too much pain or I couldn't do it, I just would get so mad. And I don't feel like I've ever really been an angry person, but it was hard. It was a hard trial for us. Coming home from the hospital wasn't like we're okay, we're great, everything's fine. It honestly had just started. It was just the beginning of the challenges. A lot of miracles that I didn't see until 6 months or a year after, because when we were in the middle of it, we were in the middle of it.
You don't see miracles, the tender, like, you don't see it until you have a wave step back to you.
Yeah. But some of the miracles, when I was in the ER, they were worried I was paralyzed.
Did that thought ever cross your mind?
I don't know that I had the capacity to think about that. Yeah. I remember it being mentioned. I don't remember anything. I mean, it just kind of like they concluded I wasn't. Yeah. And I could move my toes.
I mean, I remember all I heard was, Kailey fell off a horse and broke her back. And that was the thought that went through my mind was, is she paralyzed? But nobody knew at that point.
Yeah. By the time we had gotten, Cameron thinks that there was no concern of that. So it was pretty early on that they decided, you can move your toes. You're fine. We're good. But that was I think a major tender mercy. And it's hard in these types of situations to see the hand of God. For a long time, I was mad.
Oh, yeah.
I was mad because there were a lot of prayers of begging, pleading, take this pain away. I can't do this for another minute. I can't handle this. Please just remove it from me.
And you expect that to work.
Because you're good your whole life.
Yeah.
You do what you're asked. You do everything that you're supposed to. And when the moments that you feel like it really, you want just one thing.
Like, I don't need to find my keys. Like, this is a big thing.
This is a deal. Yeah. Can you just for today.
Yeah.
Just take the pain away. So yes, I did harbor a lot of anger for, months. For a long, long time I harbored. We still went to church, but there were times that I started to really doubt and wonder. And again, it's when you're in the middle of it, my only advice is don't make decisions when you're in the middle of it.
As hard as that may be.
As hard as it, because then I got out of it. And by the time I got out of it, all of the miracles, all of the everything that was good came to me. I mean, as I was reading scriptures, it would just hit me like, yeah, that was a tender mercy. Having your ward members bring you food for like 2 or 3 weeks. That may seem really small, but I couldn't even get off the flipping couch.
Yeah.
There was no way I was making dinner. That was a huge mercy. That was a huge miracle to have the ward step up and bring us food. And I mean, even beyond that, a lot of times I questioned, what's the point of this? What's the point of going through this much pain? And I did. I questioned why I was, why am I still fighting? Why am I still trying? If there's an option to get out of it, why wouldn't I take it? There was a lot of depression. It was tough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And basically kind of what I learned getting to the end of it was this is the point of life. We came to this earth knowing that it would be awful and it would be painful. And maybe there's a chance, part of me thinks there's a chance in heaven we didn't know the full scope of what this would be.
Because would we really put ourselves through that?
I kind of think we would have been like, the hard pass.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that.
Can I take someone else's life,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah.
I'll take theirs.
Yeah. So I'm not sure we understood the full scope, but I do think that it's all part of the plan is we came down here to be broken. When you find a car that's broken and can't do anything, like restoring cars, people who restore cars, I never understood why people did that, why that's fun, why that's interesting until on a Don't Miss This, those YouTube Don't Miss This that they do with the scriptures. I was listening to one of them and he was explaining people restore cars because you're not restoring it back to what it was. You are restoring it to a better version than it ever had been.
That's a really good analogy.
I mean, because if you think about it, at the time that the car was built, there was only so many materials and knowledge to make it X.
Yeah. It was just like every other car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years later, they've got these new gadgets, knowledge, tools to make it better.
Yeah.
So that's why people do it, is because you make it into something better. And then all of a sudden it's this cool car that it's not just old. It's And then the other thing that I was talking to my dad about it when I kind of had realized that aspect of life and God's plan, he kind of said, well, do you remember the Japanese art where they break the bowls and then as they piece it together, they line it with gold?
I cannot remember what that's called, but I've seen it and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's worth so much more than when it was just a normal bowl. And it was I think it was August, maybe, that I stood up and shared my testimony about this. Because it was at the time that I realized because I had been broken, I can now be a better person than I ever would have been if I hadn't fallen off that horse. And I don't know that I would do it again. It was pretty awful and I hated it.
Of course.
But because I held on to what I thought was true, because I kept going to church, read our scriptures, tried to do all that I could to get through the pain, going to counseling, dealing with the trauma that I experienced through this whole journey, I came out different and better than I ever would have been if I had just not ridden horses that day. And it's a weird perspective to have, but it kind of makes life make a little bit more sense. So it was definitely the hardest thing I've ever been through. It was the most pain I've ever been through. It was hard, but it was because we held on to what we thought was true that we came out better for it.
And that's beautiful. How is your pain now? Do you still suffer from pain at times? And
Yep, there's still pain. Nobody will kind of give me a hard, firm, you're going to have this the rest of your life. I'm not sure why.
Maybe they don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they don't know what it could be or what I've heard, I have a neighbor. It's funny, once you have these experiences, the flocks of people that come to you who can relate. Kind of like
you even notice them yourself. You're like, oh, I didn't know that you were there. But now it's like when you buy a car, back to the cars. When you buy a car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me was once I had this experience, people started talking to me about, oh, I had a similar experience and this is what I went through. And I had the ability to, again, another miracle of this life is I had the chance to empathize and understand what they were going through and figure out a way to do what I could to help them because I had more understanding than other people did. And our neighbor across the street had a pretty serious accident around the same time that I had mine.
Oh, really?
He had a major motorcycle accident and was in the hospital for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And so he and I were with our walkers, kind of, how you doing? Waving across the street. And,
what are the chances?
Yeah. Where was I going with that? Okay.
Sometimes I'm really good at like off shooting and then hoping they get back.
Anyways, his doctors have told him you're going to have pain for the rest of your life.
Okay.
This is just you're going to have it. It's not going away. So I don't know why it's different. I don't know why others are told yes and I'm not told. I'm hoping that there's a chance that it will continue to go away. But as of right now, there is a lot of pain most days. And some days are worse than others. It depends on my level of activity. But I'm learning. I mean, I've been off pain meds for months. I'm just learning how to push through it. And again, it's another thing that it's annoying and it sucks and I hate it, but it is making me stronger in its own way. So, well, and I a lot of it is, I mean, it really is God. I know that people don't like talking about it. And to be honest, I'm not one to like preach. I'm not a super preachy type person, but
you can't deny the experience that you have. And especially when it's that impactful, like
without him being involved in this process, we would not have come out of this as well as we did. I know that. I know that for a fact. It could have gone a lot of different ways and I could be stuck. I mean, I could be stuck in trauma. I could be stuck in pain. I really believe that he gave me the strength to make it through that time when I didn't have enough for myself. And at the time I thought it was him ignoring me and not taking away the pain, when in reality, he was behind the scenes giving me the strength I needed to make sure that I'd be stronger on the other end of it. So
thank you for sharing that. That's really beautiful. I love that you're able to see that right now. I feel like it would be really hard for me to get to that spot. I mean, I know it's been a year, but I still feel like that's really cool that you're able to realize that a year out.
Yeah. And it really had to. And again, there were promptings. There were promptings to help me along the way. There were times that I was very low and there was a prompting. Do something fun. Do something you want to do. And so I'd get out coloring, which I know I haven't done since I was like a little kid.
It is therapeutic.
It is. And I just got it out and I started coloring and it just took everything away for a minute. And that was a prompting to kind of get me through that moment. I had to do the work too. It wasn't just him supporting me. I had to read my scriptures. Otherwise, the promptings didn't come. I had to say my prayers. Otherwise, the feelings of love weren't there. So even when you're in the middle of it, if you don't keep doing the things that you need to be doing, you will lose it. And it can be taken. I mean, you have to just do the work. And if you keep doing the work, he'll show up. It might take a while.
Yeah.
It might not be the way you want to, but he does. He does show up.
Thank you, Kailey.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Like I didn't want to like make you relive something if you weren't ready. So
no, that's okay. That was the other big part of it was I started counseling in August of this year. It took me a while to be humble enough to accept therapy because nobody wants to go there. And
I just started my own therapy. Just like I think everyone could benefit from some therapy in their life.
But it was kind of amazing getting into it because I remember feeling constantly defeated. Like, what am I supposed to do to have a better attitude about? I just felt constantly, I don't know how to get out of this. I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to think about this.
You're like stuck there.
I was stuck. I was. And when I got into therapy, she told me that I had single event trauma. I was like, trauma?
Yeah.
I broke my back. Like, what are you talking about?
Word. Yeah.
People go to war and have trauma. Like, how is this? And she kind of explained to me, your brain is stuck. That is what's going on, is you have trauma. And so going into therapy, one, was a big step, but a much needed. That was another huge prompting. Was I kept feeling like I have to do something about this, or this is not going to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in such a state of, I'm done. I can't do this. This is awful. I can't keep pushing myself through this, and I'm never going to be the happy person I used to be. I was stuck. And it was hard too at that moment because it felt like everybody else had moved on. Everybody else.
You're like, wait, I'm still in it.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget about me. I still want to talk about it. I still want to vent about it. I'm still here.
Everybody else had moved on with their life. I had even gotten comments about, so the pain's gone, right?
Oh, really?
I'm like, you guys.
You're like, do you want me to get into it right now?
6 months. Hello?
Yeah.
I broke my back. You don't get up and just walk away from that.
Yeah.
So anyways, getting into counseling was the first needed step. And then it's amazing what trauma. So we did EMDR treatment was what we did. And we just used the light, and it's pretty crazy what a light will do to your brain.
I haven't tried EMDR, but I've heard people doing it, and it just, I'm like,
it's amazing.
We just don't understand the brain and the body, but I'm like, the fact that can be so
helpful.
Yeah, helpful. It's cool.
Yeah,
the fact that somebody figured that out.
Yeah,
that you can do that. It's great.
It really is amazing, because it was amazing to watch when the light would go, the things that would come up that I was like, I'm pretty sure I had moved on from that. Like, where did that come from? So much emotion, so much baggage that I had just started shoving down and tried to move on. And anyways, that was another big blessing in my life, was going through therapy and getting treatment, because I finally feel mentally back to myself.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A story that you will tell your whole life.
Yep.
So
it's good. It's a good one.
Well, thanks again. I'm going to bring you a butterbeer soda.
Nice.
So I'll bring you one next week as a thank you for doing this.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to end this, so
bye,
everyone. Okay. So as I was thinking about this podcast, I figured I want to do a little bit of talking myself sometimes, because that's what I like to do, hence why I started a podcast. So I want to know, what types of things are you sipping on? And by that, I mean, what are you enjoying right now? That can be something small, something big, a hobby, or it could be a drink, a treat, whatever. I have been thinking, what other things have I been enjoying in life lately? And let me tell you one. For Christmas, I gave 2 of my children CD players, because there is just something special about having your own personal CD player with your headphones and skipping the tracks and all the things. And I just thought that they would love that. And my daughter, she has really loved it. She has been listening to her CDs all the time, and it's been so fun. I also I bought the CD players, but then I went to the thrift stores before, and I was scouring every CD looking for anyone that I thought would be fun. And of course, I'm finding them from my childhood. I did find a Taylor Swift CD. I found an NSYNC CD, Aaron Carter, Backstreet Boys, the original Britney Spears. Like, there was so many good ones at thrift stores. And since then, it has become an obsession for me. I thought I would stop once Christmas came and they got their CDs, but nope. Every single time I am around the thrift store, I find myself walking in and walking back over to the CDs, and I cannot stop. It has been so fun, and I keep wanting to buy CDs for myself. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't even have a CD player of my own, minus the one in my car. But it has just been so fun, and I just keep finding classics, you guys. And I feel like it is a shame for me to not buy them and give them to my kids. That is what I have found myself sipping on or enjoying lately. That's been really fun. And it's been fun that my kids have also enjoyed it, and introducing them to those old classic songs from my childhood. So yeah, I think I'll throw that in occasionally in episodes, is just letting you guys know a little bit about what's going on over here in my world. And with that, Thank you for listening to episode number 2 of the Sippin' on Stories podcast with me, Mandy Corey, your host. We'll see you again next week.